Hello, hello, and welcome to Ask the Mortgage Guides Live. I am your host, Sarah Petnode, and thank you for tuning in today. We have a wonderful program planned for you. And so let's make sure we want to know that you're watching. So if you are just tuning in, please give us a like, give us a comment. We would love to know that you are here. We'd love to see who's tuning in where. So please use the comments for that. So thank you so much. We will have a question and answer segment a bit later in this program. So be sure to get your questions ready and we will answer all of your questions. So today we have our Kevnick Mortgage guys, Kelly Overgard and Nikki Erickson with us in the house. Hello. We are
Hi.
so glad to be together here. So before we get started, let's hear from each of you for the viewers who haven't met you yet. So I'm going to pop backstage here and let you guys get yourself introduced. So we'll be back here in just a moment here. So, Nikki, you want to take it away?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am Nikki Erickson. I am co-owner of Kevnick Mortgage. We are so happy to be here and so happy that you have joined us for this live segment. I have with me here Kelly Overgard. Kelly is part of Kevnick Mortgage. She runs the Oak Group out of Kevnick Mortgage. We actually have known each other on a personal level for about what we were figuring around 20 years. So our daughters actually were in Girl Scouts together. Kelly was the leader of the troop and I was the treasurer at the time. So, the financial part of me got started a bit early is what we like to say. But our daughters went through Girl Scouts, for a couple of years together, and that's how we got to know each other personally. From there, we both were in the mortgage industry and have been for quite some time. And as luck would have it, and as timing worked out, and as the world's brought us together, we were able to join forces. And Kelly joined us about a year ago, and we are so excited to bring her breadth of knowledge, her really awesome understanding of the mortgage industry as a whole to our team and to our company. And we are just so excited that she's part of our team. So welcome.
Well, thank you, Nikki. And so you guys will see a distinct difference that Nikki is really used to the live stream and the videos. I am really new at it. But I'm excited to be here. And you're actually, although you can't see it, all you have is the plain wall behind us. You're actually in our new Prior Lake office that opened this summer. So we're super excited to have you in our home. And so I have been in the mortgage industry now 35 years. And out of those 35 years, 20 of them has been behind the scenes as what's called an underwriter. And that's where I look at credit, income, assets. It's given me a lot of knowledge that I share, just as Nikki does, with our clients, with the people in the community. And we're very excited to talk about a product today or a program that a lot of people don't realize exists and how we've actually helped some clients do some really great things for their family. So that's what we're going to focus on today.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So totally great. I am back with you. Thank you guys so much for that introduction. It's nice to hear a little bit about you so that the viewers get to know you. But we've got some people tuning in. We've got Doug. He says, "Hi, Nikki." Hello, Doug out there. And Lexus joining from Phoenix, Arizona. Hello, hello out there. And we've got Kim. Kim is tuning in here. So just wanted to shout out, thank you all for tuning in. Get your questions ready. Be sure to put those in the comments, and we love to know that you're here. So we'll be checking back frequently on that. But part of what we want to talk about today is we want to cover, what do you need a home solution for your aging parents or adult disabled child? That's the focus today. So what we're going to do is have Kelly and Nikki cover all the ins and outs of the Fannie Mae program, how to get started, and the key things to consider with this home option. So this is a really great topic. And some of the other real estate partners I have talked to were like, oh yeah, this is a great one. So I hope you're tuning in out there. We'll have a replay here as well. So there's going to be lots of great information. So Kelly, I know you have a client story that you want to share with our viewers. So I'm going to go ahead and pop backstage and say hello to everybody who is joining us. We've got Austin from Scottsdale. And Kelly, we're going to go ahead and have you share with us your client story.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. So having 35 years in the industry, I am always careful to make sure that I don't just talk mortgage geek information
All the time, yeah.
all the
It's really
time.
hard. It's really hard.
It is. But if I'm trying to learn something in a different industry, I want somebody to explain it at what I'm used to, or a level that I can understand and comprehend it. So part of it is when I'm talking to clients, I just want to make sure that it makes sense for them. And so I usually start with an example, because in 35 years, I've seen so many family transitions and scenarios. So the best way to start this is to explain. I had a client, and he is in his 50s like me, and he had called me, and he actually said he wanted to purchase the property his parents lived in. So they already lived in it, they were older, and he wanted to purchase it as an investment property because he could no longer afford it. So when I'm talking to him, I made sure to ask more questions, because I started thinking of the program that we're going to share with you right away. And as I was talking to him, I really learned and dove into the fact that his parents want to stay in the house. They just can no longer afford it. And he had owned other investment properties, so that's why he thought that he had to buy this as an investment property. So after talking to him and finding out truly his parents wanted to stay in it, I explained that in the conventional housing market, a lot of people have heard of Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae has a program that will let us as adults purchase a property that either our parents are already living in or want to move into, and actually do it as our primary residence. And the benefit of that is a lot less money down and lower interest rates.
Yep.
So do you want to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have done this program for my parents. So my parents were looking to purchase a home and move to Arizona as their primary residence. And because they couldn't afford the home that they were moving into, I, as their child, could go into Arizona and purchase that home for them on their behalf as a primary residence loan under my name only. Now, what the benefit to that is they don't have to be on the actual mortgage. They don't have to be on the title to the property. So as they are aging and as they are going through additional transitions in their life, it was very beneficial for my name to be on the title to the property, so that if something were to happen to them or they need to make different decisions from a living situation, we're able to not have that home affected by that. It was really beneficial for us to be able to do that, and it made sense for the situation. And so it's just another way that we can help transition aging parents into different stages in their life.
And I really like both of those examples, because my client, the parent already lived in the house, and it was a matter of doing the same program, slightly different, to keep them in the house. And with Nikki's parents, it was actually purchasing a completely different property for them.
Correct.
And an entirely different state.
Absolutely.
You were still able to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's a fantastic program.
Yeah. And what we really talk about with this program is, we're big in Kevin Mortgage on the effect in the community and how we can help the people in our community. We have the largest population of, baby boomers moving through the housing market and towards the time where they're aging and towards the time where assisted living and, different options like that, are going to be available to them. But for parents who are not quite ready, or aging parents who are not ready to make that transition, because of course they're healthier, we're living longer, they want to stay in their communities, they want to still tend their gardens, they want to still, be able to be a part of their community. This helps them to stay in the home longer and helps them to make additional transitions into those, older living situations as they move along. So the goal being, we help, people stay in their homes, we help them stay in their communities, and we help to really, take the pressure off them from a payment standpoint and say, how can we help them the best? And it's wonderful that Fannie Mae has allowed us to be able to do this. And it really benefits everyone. It benefits me as the child, because I'm not having to put a lot of money down. I'm not having to pay a higher interest rate and go under investment property guidelines. Whereas, and it helps the parent, obviously, for all those reasons that we had mentioned.
Well, and those are all great points. And another thing is, in addition to, thankfully, because now I'm in my 50s, living longer, healthier in my home. Yes. But in addition to that, in most parts of the country, we are in an affordable home crisis where you just cannot find affordable homes. So if we can keep our aging parents in the home that they love longer and just take the financial responsibility off of them, that's a huge, like you said, burden lifted. Right. Mm-hmm. And another benefit is, so for instance, this family, the parents, his parents, my client's parents, they were of the age where they could no longer afford the home, but they still like to, putt around in the garden. Yeah. They still love the fact that they were in their house for 20 years and wanted to stay there. So they still had that pride of being in their home, It was something, that they were able to maintain,
Right.
the dignity, and they got rid of the financial burden. And there's a couple different ways. So when you are actually buying a house that they already live in, if there is equity in that home, the other great thing that we can partner with this is what's called a gift of equity. And that would be let's just say it's a $300,000 house and they only need like $200,000 to finance what's really needed. That $100,000 difference can be given as a gift of equity. And then that same example in your purchase transaction.
Exactly. Yep. So in purchase transaction, you can put as little as 5% down. And that really helps. You don't have to be super cash heavy in order to, help your parents. And I was just going to say, like, if they are already living in the home and they're selling it to, their child, they can actually get that gift of equity, or they can keep that equity as cash in their hands. What that does is it allows them to stay in the house, use that equity, and really have that savings, have that buffer where they can say, okay, this is going to be a little bit easier to stay in the house. It's going to be a little bit easier to maintain it. And we can take advantage of the equity and really use that to be able, to have living expenses in a lot of cases. For me, it really hits home just because of, transitioning from a multi-level home to a single living situation is really important in our community and really important for, aging parents as well. And so to be able to help facilitate that and get the family involved and help the family as a whole is really important to both of us.
Yeah. And another really good point, at least here in the South Metro of Minneapolis, it is really expensive to rent a single family townhome.
It is.
A single living.
Single level living. Yes, we'll get it someday.
That's quite the word.
Yes.
But you can pay upwards of $2,500 or more per month. So think of it this way, instead of putting that in rent, actually help your parents actually move into that house,
right,
and actually have that ownership within the family.
Right.
So that is a really good thing to look at too.
And we also should mention one last thing is, this program applies to aging parents, which is wonderful. But the other thing that it does apply to also is if you have an adult disabled child, which helps encourage them to get that independence that they want. You can purchase the home for that child, again, under primary residence requirements for the lower down payment and the lower interest rate, so that that disabled child can live in that home as, and you don't have to occupy it with them, which is huge as well.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you brought that one up, because in my 35 years, I've actually been involved in 3 of those transactions.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it is just amazing to help that family make the transition where the adult disabled child can actually live independently. Yes. It actually gives me chills remembering those stories. So it's pretty incredible feeling to help a family with that.
It really is.
So,
it really is.
Wow, that is such great information, and what an opportunity for people. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like some of these, this information on these programs, like that people might not know about. So we are getting a lot of love out here, right? We're getting, this is awesome, and very excited about this program. So thank you for the comments out there. Make sure to let us know that you are tuned in here. Give us a comment here. So thank you for the love so far, and make sure to share, right? This is great information. I mean, I've been backstage here taking notes myself. So we are ready for the question and answer segment of the program now. Are you guys ready? So let's go ahead and take a look at what questions that we have. I'm going to go ahead and get a little reminder up there for folks. And so we did cover a little bit about this, but let's see if there's anything else that you want to add. So Kim sends in a question, how much money do you need down, and what's the minimum? So we did just talk about that a little bit, but I'm just going to hand it off. Who would like to take that question to expand on that for Kim?
I can expand on that. Thank you, Kim. So a minimum, because again, it's defined as your primary residence, it's a minimum of 5% down, and that 5% can be your own money, or we can also work it as either a monetary gift if the parents want to put money into it to purchase that different home, that brand new house like Nikki's parents did. Or again, if they want to stay in their home and use a gift of equity, that can work a number of different ways, but the absolute minimum is 5% down. Great question.
Excellent. Oh, we've got another question that's coming in here from Alexis. And here she asks, do you need to already own a home in order to help your parents purchase a home? So
Oh,
who
that's
would like
actually,
to take that question?
yeah, I'll actually take that question. That's a really great question. Thank you, Alexis. You do not need to own your own primary residence in order to help your parents purchase their primary residence. And if you do subsequently then want to purchase your own home later, it will not impede you from purchasing that as your primary residence as well. So this is a program that does not, prevent you from owning a home in the future. It does not prevent you, from doing any of that stuff. So you are not required to own your own home if you want to help your parents own theirs as a primary residence.
Very interesting. That is a great question, Alexis. So thank you for that. So great. We've got another question that's come in from Austin, and Austin is asking, is there an age restriction for a parent? Who would like to take that question?
I will take that question. So technically, even though we call it like aging parents, there is no restriction on the age. It's just a matter of they can no longer afford to maintain their home. So there is no age restriction. They don't have to be retired or anything else. There's no requirements around that.
Nope. And more importantly, when we talk about, how does the underwriter, how does Fannie Mae determine that you're buying this home for your parents, or how do they determine that your parents can't afford this home? And so it is not invasive to the parents. The parents are not required to provide additional documentation towards, this loan to say, oh yeah, here's financially how I cannot afford this. They just need to state in the simplest terms that they are not able to afford the payment on their own, and that, they just aren't able to do it. And so that's what's really nice too, is that not putting your parents through documentations and signatures and, income documents and all these other things that, they may or may not have readily access to. It's really beneficial for them as well in that way.
Such great information. I hope you guys are taking notes. We will have all of this written as answers to your comments here after the broadcast. So thank you so much for answering that. And thank you, Austin. Great question. So we are actually streaming to multiple platforms. So we've got another question that has come in. And so the question is, so this doesn't have to be an investment property for myself? So who'd like to take that question?
I can start with that. So I can see how people are second guessing that, because this is definitely one of those programs that sounds too good to be true.
It does.
To actually purchase a property with that little down at really great primary residence rates. It's like, what? Are you sure? So yes, to confirm, Fannie Mae has this product, and at Kevin Mortgage, we do it often. And you can actually purchase it as a primary residence, not as an investment property.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, you heard it here. All right, that's great. So we do have another question that has come in here, but before we get to that one, make sure to get your questions in. We are going to answer all the questions that we can here, but rest assured, we're going to go in and have all the answers to all the questions here after the live stream is done. Education is a cornerstone value here at Kevin Mortgage, so we want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered. So are we ready for another question?
Yes. Yep.
All right. So we've got a question that came in. Oh, this is a good one. Do I have to collect rent from my parents?
Oh, that's actually a really good question.
Yeah. Who would like
I
to
can
take
take
that
that
one?
one. Absolutely.
Great.
So that's actually a really good question. But, the whole premise of this program is that the parents can no longer afford to make the payments. And so, no, you're not required to collect rent from your parents. They can live in it, just free and clear, whatever your arrangement is with them. They can live in the home and they are not required to pay you any rent or any sort of monetary compensation.
That's a great question. I have to say, I did think of something we're so blessed, and we're seeing our, realtor referral partners actually, on here live, which is such a blessing. And one of the things that I thought of is, sometimes when either community or referral partners hear of something unique, the concern is, well, we're in a hot seller's market.
Right.
So how can I do this in this hot seller's market and still be competitive? So to be clear on that, this is a conventional product.
It is.
The seller, the listing agent, it doesn't matter to them. It is strictly a conventional product, primary residence. That is how it's actually taken, in the purchase contract. So it's not a disadvantage in the seller's market.
Not at all. No. It's a really good point.
Yes, a very good point. That is excellent. So, what we'll do here is I am not seeing any questions that are coming in, but we're going to check back. If you happen to ask a question after the live stream is done, we will answer it. Again, I just want to reiterate, we're all about the education part of this. So, before we close, I'd like to just give a moment for each of you to share, maybe some closing thoughts as we're starting to get close to the end of our live stream time today. Any other things that you would like the viewers to know about? Final thoughts on this topic tonight.
Would you go?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sarah, so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We really are so excited to bring this information to you and just really be part of our community. And as we, work towards helping people within the community, this is just another way that we can help keep people in their homes, help stimulate the community and help keep people together. And so we're so happy to be able to help anyone that does need it from us, and even just be here as a resource. If you do have additional questions, we're always here to help. It's better to ask and get your questions answered than to continue to wonder. So even just as a resource, feel free to reach out to us.
Great point. And so I guess just a thing for me to close and is try to get you interested into, dialing in the future. We have been in business for a really long time. We have a lot of experience. We've seen a lot of crazy things.
Yes.
And so we believe about the education. So in the future, we'll be talking about how to help with other family transitions. So in the meantime, though, just know that we are here to help you figure things out, answer questions. We work with your financial planners, your CPAs, whatever it may be, to help you guys figure out what is in the best interest of not only in this situation, but in any kind of transaction that you might need.
Absolutely.
So totally great. So let's switch up our screens here as we're starting to get ready to close out our program for the night. How can our viewers get a hold of you? How do we get a hold of you?
So you can go ahead on the screen. It has my cell number, which is 952-913-7797. Or you can email at oakgroup@kevnickmortgage.com. And then also, even though it's not listed on the screen, we have a fantastic website that you can also go to, and you could look at that too.
Absolutely.
It has a lot of good information on it.
Yes, it does. A lot of good information, a lot of great stories on there as well.
Absolutely. We've got the blogs on there, the social media, which we're producing content and putting out there every single week is fantastic. So be sure to give us a like and follow for sure. And so I actually am so glad that we talked about this evening. I think this is some information that's important for people to know about. It's so valuable. It changes lives. So I think all of those things are absolutely fantastic. I so appreciate both of you being here tonight on the live. We had some great questions that came in. So thank you to all of you. We've had people tuning in throughout the country. So thank you so much. Again, I'll go back and make sure that we have, everybody, we'll answer everybody's questions. We said game changer for many. Yep. Thank you very much for that comment. So we will be back here. So we're going to say mark your calendars for the next live. So Nikki, we're going to be back with you and Kevin on October 13th at 5 p.m. because it's going to be Kevnick Mortgage Anniversary Week. Yay! So we've got some fun things planned. So make sure to watch our social media and we'll have more on that. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. So appreciate the information. We're going to get it out there to do the great work. And until next time, we'll see you back here for Ask the Mortgage Guides Live. So thanks so much. You guys have a great evening and we're tuning out for the evening. Thanks so much.